What in the hell is this? It's Deidre. Hello, it is Deidre. And today I'm going to introduce you to a woman on TikTok who is going to tell us how we build a matriarchy on planet Earth. Now, I think this ties into what we've recently been talking about as far as like generalizations being the bane of our existence, which they are. They are going to be, if they're not already. Generalizations are going to be the bane of our existence. And this is the perfect example. So this TikToker, the gentle woman, her username says the gentle woman, believes that we have to delete 90% of men to form a matriarchy. So let's hear what she has to say. I'm going to try not to talk over the video. We're going to listen and we're going to see for ourselves if whether or not what she's saying is based on something logical, realistic, and stable. So let's see.
Go ahead and say what no one else is willing to say. So if you're a lover girl or a mediocre man, go ahead and click off this video because you won't like it, or you can cry in the comments. In order for us to achieve peace on planet Earth and get the things that we want to get out of this life, we're going to have to delete 90% of men. Yes, that includes your awful baby daddy and your ancient father. So if I was president of the universe, we would literally structure society so that we can finally achieve a matriarchy. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of most men because let's just face it, most men are not going to change. There's literally not enough time on planet Earth to change the heart of a trash man, and there's nothing you can do. We would literally need the second coming of Christ in order to change some of these men on this planet.
First of all, to think that there are not trash women is wild. To feel so confident that women are not capable of the same, if not even worse, than what she's saying 90% of men are guilty of is insane. This is exactly what we were talking about previously, about how generalizations are a trauma response. It sounds to me like, with all due respect, I need to be respectful because it's a human being and I know she's on a journey. We're all on journeys. Everyone in the comments is on a journey. But I do want to say, it sounds to me like you have had some less than desirable experiences with men. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might remember we did a video on all men are evil and how it's more likely that you are attracted to a certain type of man that turns out to be evil, as we put it. It sounds like that's the case here. It sounds like you've had some bad experiences, ma'am. And to say that 90% of the male population should be eliminated because of your taste in men that didn't go so well is kind of insane. It's wild. It's extreme. It's extreme. Extreme is the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, let's keep listening
on this planet. And so what I am suggesting is that we literally get rid of them using the science that we already have. Elon Musk has said that by the year 2031, we will be able to support life on planet Mars. So I'm suggesting that we ship 90%, the bottom 90% of men to Mars so that we can achieve the matriarchy. And what does that leave us with? That leaves us with the top 10% of men. 5% of which are the men who are loyal to their wives.
It's crazy to think that you have to eliminate 90% of men in order for you to find a good one. How about you change the way you are thinking? This is what David Icke, and I know, people have their thoughts about David Icke. I've listened to many hours of David Icke. There's something he said that rings very true in this situation, and that is the idea of combing the mirror. You want to change your hairstyle, so you comb the mirror instead of combing your own hair. That is what she's talking about here. This is what she's saying. She is saying, let's comb the men out of the situation, 90% of the men out of the situation, so that I can find a good man. Does that make any sense? Don't comb the mirror. In reality, the actual solution here is to change yourself. Change how you see the world. Change the crap that you tolerate. Go outside and use discernment. You don't just, willy-nilly let men into your life. You can look at a lot of times you can look at a person and know that something's not right. We got to use that. We got to stop giving benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying go crazy. I am saying to a certain degree, we have to also rely on that little God-given instinct within us to make better choices. Also, where are you looking for men? Your past experiences, that's important too. Please, I would love to know where you found the previous men that you have been with.
Who are loyal to their wives and devoted husbands. And the other 5% are the men who have amazing gene pool, great IQ, good bone structure, good hair, skin, tall, fine as fuck, You know what I'm talking about.
You're the problem.
So since 2031 is a couple years away, that gives us enough time to decide what are the traits that we want to keep from the men on planet Earth and how do we want to repopulate the planet. We can have sporting competitions to decide who is the most athletic. We can have mental competitions to...
What in the Hitler is this? Replace men with some sort of ethnic group and you literally have Hitler. Let's pit them against each other and see who survives, who's the fittest to survive, and let's use his genes to, repopulate. This is wild AF. This is not acceptable. Just because it's between genders does not mean that those generalizations are not damaging to society as a whole. Okay? And I'm sure you're aware of that. If you got this far in this video, I'm sure you're fully aware that this is Hitler territory.
To see who is the smartest, the best IQ. We can have social competitions to decide who has the best heart and who is the most emotionally viable.
Are you going to be the judge? Because I don't think that's going to be accurate. She's saying to judge who has the best heart. Who's going to determine that? One thing that I would like to say, and I don't want to generalize either, out of all the workplaces that I've had, the least toxic management was men. Where the men were in the management positions. Not to say there were no toxic ones, because I can name one right now. And he knows who he is. If you ever see this, I remember you, Mark. But for the most part, I have seen people cry. I've seen my coworkers cry in workplaces where the management is female. I've seen it get extremely toxic. Female managers tend to be far more anal about little things. And I don't want to generalize. I've also had a very chill female manager. Well, to me, she was chill. Everything was peaceful. Except I would see other coworkers crying because she was not chill to them. So take that as you will. I just don't think that her assumption that women are not toxic is safe.
But if we want to actually have a chance to fight as a matriarchy and become the great planet that we know we can be, we have to get rid of 90% of men in order to do this. And that means you're going to have to detach from the idea of everyone getting a soulmate, because that's just not realistic. Now, after we've gotten rid of 90% of men,
have you seen women fight over men? I'm just going to say this real quick. You really think deleting 90% of men is going to be peaceful when there's 100% of women left and only 10% of men? You really think that you're going to be okay in that battlefield? I don't think so.
Percent of men, you probably are asking, Ace, what do we do after that? Now we got all these women on this planet. What are we going to do?
Become lesbians.
That we begin to rebuild our societies, centering around women, children, and the elderly. Meaning our housing complexes need to literally be built in a circle, supporting children in the center and having the rest of the society, the rest of the neighborhoods be built around this. Now you're probably wondering, well, we got rid of all the men. Who's going to do our construction work? We can literally 3D print our houses if we want to. Or we can have strong women do the work. If you know anything about strong women, a strong woman is as good as a man, as competent as a man. And the best part about women is that not only can they be strong and competent, but they can also produce more men if we need to. Except this time the men will have great genes because...
Okay, so the big muscular woman that's doing all the work, you really think that she's gonna... The last 10% of men that is left, you really think that... I'm not saying it's not beautiful, but I am saying there's only a small amount of guys left. I think it will be a little bit harder for her to spread those genes. I'm not saying it's not attractive, but I am saying there's already not many men to choose from because you deleted 90% of them.
Weeded out all of the bad gene pool. And I know some of you out there are thinking, well, what happens with all of the men that we send to Mars? What are they going to do up there? I don't know. I mean, they probably want to smash each other. So we should just let them do their thing and create their own societies, their own communities, their own brotherhood if they want to. They can go play soccer or do whatever they want. I just don't think that we can have them on our planet if we want a chance at survival as women who have power. And if you have other suggestions on how we can rebuild a matriarchy on planet Earth, let me know in the comments. Oh, and one last thing, having money as a man does not qualify you to be on the matriarchy of planet Earth. So we can go ahead and get rid of that myth that having money as a man makes you better, because
nobody was
literally
thinking
it's
that.
Your gene pool. What genes were you born with and how can you be useful to the matriarchy? On planet Earth, as a matriarchy, we literally don't need money anymore. So you're dismissed.
What do you think about that? Personally, I think that there's a lack of self-awareness here, which is obvious. But also, I think that there is a bit of a delusion that women are incapable of being monsters. To me, a person is what they are before they slap a label on themselves. If you are a bad person, you are a bad person before you are a man or a woman. You get me? You are a bad person before you call yourself a religion. You are a bad person before you call yourself a race, an ethnicity. If you have it in your heart, you're going to use all those labels to justify that evil. That evil has already been there. That's how I see it. Being a man doesn't make you evil. Calling yourself a religion doesn't make you good or evil. It's what's in your heart that determines who and what you will be to society and others in the world. To generalize is to deny yourself the opportunity to evolve your own thinking and own sense of self. You're denying yourself the ability to vibrate higher than what you've seen. When you trap yourself there, when you have those bad experiences with police and you say, oh, all cops are, what is that, bastards? What is the letter B? A.k.a. When you say all cops are bastards because, oh, this cop did this and this cop did that and this cop, you are denying yourself the opportunity to even have better experiences because you're always going to look at cops sideways. It's always going to be a hostile situation. It's always going to be defensive. And it's not to say that, you don't have to worry about your own safety in dealing with people with authority. Hell, anyone with a gun, I'm going to be concerned about my safety. And I would be lying if I said I did not feel extra vigilant about protecting myself when I'm around police. But I'll also be lying if I said I never had great experiences with police. I've met some very sweet police people. I've met some very kind and caring people who just want to do their job and get back to their family, who deserve to be recognized for putting their life on the line every day, not knowing whether or not they will come home to their family. Yet the toxic, unhealed mind looks at all police and says, oh, those nice guys don't exist. It's all about what I have seen and what the news has shown me and, narcissist cop over there. The cop was a jackass before he became a cop. It has nothing to do with him being a cop. All cops who I'm going to generalize here, all cops who are jackasses were jackasses before they put on the uniform, okay? You can't argue with that because they had it in their heart to give in to evil intentions. So as far as starting a matriarchy, okay, if that's what you want to do, sure, but I really don't think eliminating 90% of men is the solution to find peace. Peace comes from healing, and obviously your theory and your little plan of action here are not rooted in healing. They are rooted in trauma, ma'am. This is trauma. And it's rooted in a lack of self-awareness. It's rooted in combing the mirror instead of combing your own hair. Why don't you show us it's possible? Watching you talk about this does not build my confidence in the matriarchy at all. And I would hate to think that the women that are left making the decisions have this type of mindset because it's gonna be toxic as hell. And that is it. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments what you think about what this woman has to say. And I would like to include a quote that I hold very near and dear to my heart. And I'm just gonna spout it from memory here. And that quote is, be careful when you're fighting monsters, that you do not become a monster yourself. For when you gaze into the darkness also gazes into you. Yeah!